Hello everyone. It is Wednesday, the 1st of February, 2023. It can also be seen as 0201 or 021 or like whatever the number combination is that you want to look at to come up with like these sacred universal numbering systems that various elitists use. Even last year, well now it's last year, but it was just a few months ago, just in November. But even that tabletop pandemic exercise that Bill Gates and others did, it was there was like a 201 in the title, right? And even before COVID-19 hit, they had these tabletop planned training exercises, and 102 was also used then as well. And anyway, that is what it is. I shared a lot of information yesterday on various social media platforms. And in and around the 11th of March 2020 is when globally, internationally, the pandemic was declared. And then with the Queen's passing on the 8th of September 2022, it had marked 911 days since it was declared. And so interesting things, right? And then you've got like where the possibility, well, not the possibility, it's a fact now that that even 9/11 was staged and planned at the higher levels by people who had warned off other people, and even like broadcasting news journalists actually discussing and televising and reporting. So I'm getting so many messages right now. I'm getting like reporting stuff like the towers collapsing even before like it was told that they did, and then I was also saying that there were training exercises in the area on like that same day. And this is why even with the media, like there was media that was there as part of role players, as part of training, and then actual reporters that were there that were reporting planned events. And then there's a lot of different research papers that have come out since then that prove that this was a controlled detonation of the towers that day, and there were multiple areas within the structure that were again blasted and detonated. And even with the Pentagon, like this was not an aircraft. There was no proof of any debris or anything like that left over, even immediately. And so like these are all things that we just need to discuss. And I'm getting really frustrated. Like I'm in my 40s, right? And like I'm getting Agent Smith still to this day in Canada, right? And it's getting worse. It's not getting better because the push now, like for these dictators that are still in, that are not resigning or stepping down, like they are desperate now with everything that's been coming out and leaked, and people like me like pushing like the truth and getting like stuff to Canadians, and so they're getting very desperate. And so even with the Emergency Act hearings that went on, Justin Trudeau is gonna get to see the results before anyone else, but it doesn't even matter. It was all like just planned and staged to make it look like we had some kind of like say, you know, for what happened last year. And Brian Fox, who was the one that had the balaclava on, that was holding the racist flag, tried to incite a riot, tried to like committed treason. He's been named, and he's the owner of Enterprise, a role player, a crisis actor business here in Ottawa, and knows Marco Mendicino, like part of the Liberal Party, with that group as well. And again, like this is where I was saying, like even last year before the convoy arrived in Ottawa, that this is bought and paid for by these extreme leftists that are part of like the same WEF agenda and stuff like that, as so many others that are destroying our country from the inside. And oh my goodness, it's so frustrating. And even this weekend, the Freedom Convoy anniversary that again was planned and staged and bought by the Justin Trudeau's and Chrystia Freelands. Look at the an anonymous donor list, please, as well, and using role players to incite, to elicit emotional responses in people within the Ottawa area. And I'm looking at Twitter and all these news feeds, and there's still people in this area that are such ignorant trolls that are still calling us like fringe minorities, white supremacists, idiot, like all these things, that science deniers. And this is just shows you like I'm getting overwhelmingly frustrated because I was censored all weekend. I was having issues even uploading like my content, my videos, my Twitter. Like I had paid for this like over a week ago to get the check so that people can like pay more attention to my stuff, because I'm shadow banned and censored, and oftentimes even videos removed or posts removed, factual stuff, right? And so this is how censored we are here, that it's getting even more impossible for information to get shared even now, just like as of this past weekend. And so people, please pay attention to this stuff, speak out more on this stuff. And these 15-minute cities are like it's making the news now as well. I've been saying this for years. This is why I was calling out Taggart and these destruction companies in the area and these people that were buying out places and green spaces that they have no right to or entitlement to, and they're in areas where it's not even in any city plans to be touched. Okay, and this is where I for like last like over a year now, like I've been sharing like the proof, and these people don't even have like the proper certifications to be on the areas that they're in, and blasting and drilling through areas, and I know for a fact they don't have like the like any of the contracts or paperwork in place to even be able like legally like authorized to do this stuff, because they're all over the city doing this, and I've been saying this, shredding millions of trees in the area, and blasting and drilling, and it's not for us. Anyway, where's it going with all that stuff? Oh yes, like the people here still like and for like not even 3 weeks of people trying to send a message peacefully to our government to end mandates, because during that time as well, like all the Pfizer like original trials were finally getting like distributed to everyone. And then the Russian-Ukraine war, like they were trying to set up the conditions for that as well, like as a like to distract people like me, so that we like so they thought that we weren't paying attention to things like what was going on with Russia and Ukraine. But like even before the convoy got here, I did up a whiteboard and I've shared this. It's on my social media and I can share it again. But I was even saying like in December that there was going to be like a possible war with Russia and Ukraine because of what's been going on now for the last several years, and the narrative being pushed, and the fact that anyway, being used, and like all the lies with like the Snake Island, all these atrocities that they blamed on Russia that were not real or true, that people like me have been calling out. And instead of people sharing my message and or like even thanking me, like I get ghosted, character assassinated, threatened. I've said this before too, even like ran off the road. I have had cops like flick their lights like when I've gone to even see like even conservative like leadership campaigns here, like people are getting like marked because of this stuff. And if you donated to the Freedom Convoy, you were marked. And it's because like I had people that like were family, that were truckers, that were making a stance, and I wanted to support it because because it was justified. And again, our freedoms were getting infringed upon, and for no justifiable reason. And this is going to be the year where a lot of the stuff it just like it can't get out anymore, right? Like we're showing too that there was direct censorship, even of very credible people that were sharing like information that went against like the mainstream media, and that they were deliberately, intentionally censoring these people and deleting our accounts and things like that, and impacting us and pushing like a very negative, false narrative. And when Barack Obama was president, he actually made it where it was a law where media and government, they were not able to lie to people and or like a lie and promote propaganda. But with Barack Obama in leadership, he actually changed the law. I forget what the law is. I'll link the video in my description box below. And so like now it's legal that the government can lie to us. They can elicit emotional responses in people. They can use propaganda, and so can mainstream media. So this is why like they're like this is within Canada as well. So this is why these people, these mouthpieces like that are part of like Global and CTV and CBC, because like again, left and right wing, it's all part of the same bird. We need to have good people in leadership to get control of like of the narrative like that our education systems and mainstream media and legacy media are imposing on its citizens. And they're not fired yet. Like they're getting awards like for like innovative journalism. Like in like are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. And yeah, and people like me that are still getting vilified in this area, and this just blows my mind. And then people even talking about the myocarditis that's happening. Like I've shared scientific reports on this as well, even in previous videos, so take a look. But if it's giant cell myocarditis, these are therapeutics induced. So that would make it man-made myocarditis. And so there's other forms of myocarditis as well. But giant cell myocarditis is strictly vaccine induced, and they're gonna like lie about this or censor this information. Like of course, like now that like people like me are like have been saying this now for the last couple of years. But and they're gonna try to spin it some way. But like even for people that are talking about myocarditis and claiming it was because of the flu, this is all part of the scripted narrative that they're trying to push like ongoing to like make it where we're blaming other things for things are because of other things, right? And it is what it is. And so like ask about variants too, right? Like we're talking about variants, but like they have not been able to isolate variants. And Pat King from Edmonton, Alberta even took government to court and they had to drop the case because they were not able to prove that they were able to isolate the virus. And so this is all common knowledge for people that are paying attention to this stuff. And so yeah, I get a little touchy on these videos and tense because it's like the information I'm sharing, like it's a lot, like and it can be, I guess, overwhelming for people, like even when I'm talking about like flat simulation Earth and about God and about freedom convoys and about the pandemic and about extreme communism and about censorship and all this stuff. It just seems to be that I'm on the opposite side of the whole world with my views on this stuff. But it's because I'm in Ottawa too, and I'm gonna have to leave for like for my own safety, because like in this area too, like again, I have nothing left here. Yeah, I was staying here because again, it's close to the capital and stuff like that, and I still do get contracts from time to time, but it's very rare. And like the big ones that I was working on because of my stance on the what's going on and what I'm trying to warn people about, they're not taking it seriously yet, unfortunately. And we still got people like, again, like they're not getting held accountable. Justin Trudeau, he's still in charge, and so is Chrystia Freeland and Marco Mendicino and all these people and Glenn Gower, and I don't understand why we're not holding people accountable. And mainstream media, we still have the same journalists that are watching on Ottawa, like CTV, and again, not fired for lying to us when it's all stuff that causes harm and death to our citizens, and people are just like not even making making a phone call. It's just alarming. I don't know. A lot of the books I've been reading, I would like that I've recommended. Like maybe if I gave you like a bit of a sample of what the books say, then it would get people more interested in my theories. So this is Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe by Robotham Parallax, and so this is just from page 7. If the Earth is a globe and 25,000 miles in circumference, the surface of all standing water must have a certain degree of convexity. Every part must be an arc of a circle, curvating from the summit at a rate of 8 inches per mile, multiplied by the square of the distance. That this may be sufficiently understood, the following quotation is given from the Encyclopedia Britannica Art, Leveling. If a line which crosses the plumb line at right angles be continued for any considerable length, it will rise above the Earth's surface, the Earth being globular, and this rising will be as square of the distance to which the said right line is produced. That this is to say, it is raised 8 inches very nearly above the Earth's surface at 1 mile's distance, 4 times as such, or 32 inches, at a distance of 2 miles, 9 times as much, or 72 inches, at a distance of 3 miles, or 72 inches at a distance of 3 miles, and then so forth and so forth. This is owing to the globular figure of the Earth, and this rising is the difference between the true and apparent levels. The curve of the Earth being the true level, and the tangent to it the apparent level. So soon does the difference between the true and apparent levels become perceptible that it is necessary to make an allowance for it with the distance betwixt the two stations extend to chains. So basically what they're saying is like they're giving the calculations of this, and there's so much information and science in here that but with a lot of experimentations that have been shown too, the what they're saying is if it's like 25,000 miles, then with the mathematics that were being shown, we're seeing things at distances well beyond like what would be possible on that size of an Earth. And also, all images are CGI. Don Pettit, like even himself, have admitted this, and I've shared the videos of him actually admitting it and saying it. So he's on the record saying this stuff multiple times, and so like people are trying to fight people that are saying it when even like their lords are the ones that are actually saying it on the record. Okay, and so like I don't understand why people are still saying that that's not true when they're actually admitting it. And I'll just reiterate that. And they're trying to say that the real, true, and only true image of the Earth is the one that was taken in the 1970s. Again, lies. And now they're trying to say that the Earth is oblate. And again, even with the angle, like the 23.4 degree angle, 90 degrees divided by 23.4 is 66. And again, this is more of that hidden numbering that people use when they're misleading us. And prove to me like with a marble a perfectly sphere marble and then an oblate pear-shaped sort of marble, and prove to me like with an axis or a tilt, like they're saying that there is that this is like even remotely something that can be duplicated like in any model, right? And then again with this marble, remember, or this tennis ball, remember to have the water on the outside. Remember to have it like where we're stuck to the earth and like possibly like on an angle, because 23.4 degree like tilt, and like the Leaning Tower of Pisa and stuff like that. I think that these are all in plain sight things to like make us think about these things, and we're not getting the clues or the hints. Like looking with the pyramids, like they are the way they're situated. It's like they're part of like the four cardinal points of the compass, like with where they're situated, and so much more. I go on all these tangents, but even with water, it needs a container in order to be anything more than like a dropper or two of water needs some kind of like a container. And so again, like also more things that are impossible on what we're saying is this like globe Earth with water on the exterior, and we're saying that it's gravity that's holding all of this water down in the ocean water. And in infantry after 15 years, I've carried a lot of heavy weight, and water is very, very heavy, even just a couple of liters of water, let me tell you. So like you can't say that gravity is holding down the water, and all these ships and us and stuff like that, like toward and all these heavy metals and the pyramid, all this stuff. Yet, you know, hummingbirds and bees and insects and stuff like that not impacted at all, not pulled down, and we're not being pulled into the sun. Like and this is too with gravity, that they're making all these bogus claims about. I can just go on all these tangents because again I've done so many hours of research on this, but these are all like different examples of representations of what people describe as the as this Earth plane. And NASA is the only one out of all these advanced civilizations that created all these advanced technologies and designs and infrastructure all over the world. NASA is the only one that has the blue marble. And again, it's changed repeatedly with the sizes of the continents, all of this stuff. And yeah, so this is from the History of Flat Earth. This is Flatlandis by Eric Dubay. And this is like a better representation again of like of a map model. And there's multiple ones, like even like on the bottom here too, just showing more examples of like what the Earth really looks like. So from the beginning of recorded history and for thousands upon thousands of years, cultures across the entire world all believed the Earth was flat. I believe it's a flat simulation, by the way, impacted and influenced by toroidal fields and waves and stuff like that. And for thousands upon thousands of years, cultures across the, I already said that. Their various cosmologies and cosmogonies differed in slight ways, but their overall geographies and astronomies were incredibly consistent and in fact virtually identical. The Earth was a stationary plane, void of any motion or curvature, flat across its entire expanse except, of course, for hills, mountains, and valleys. The North Pole was the magnetic monopole center point of the flat Earth, with Polaris, the North Pole star, situated directly above, and it never moves. Polaris was the only motionless star. Oh, it says it. It was the only motionless star in the heavens, with all the other constellations revolving perfect circles over the Earth every night. I don't know about the revolving perfect circles. I believe that the lights or luminaries are pulsating or moving, but I'm going to get into that with another thing. That's what I'm saying. Don't take everything so literally or verbatim. And because even with most of this information is incredibly accurate, and this might be true too. It's just I have my own interpretation based on more stuff. But Eric Dubay, a freaking genius, and he has thousands of videos online now still that people can take a look at, and he has multiple books, and so he gets character assassinated a lot online, but it's intentional. People are paid to do it so that people like stay like believing like this narrative, but it's keeping us stuck. And yeah, it's like knowing this stuff like gets us closer to God and accessing our higher levels of consciousness and stuff like that, and being more like cooperative and living in harmony and stuff like that. That's why I'm trying to share this information. But anyway, because like the more we unpack the lies, like this house of cards will fall, and then things will change in it for the better. The more truth that's given, like it may be painful to hear at first, just like when you learned that like the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus weren't real, but like we get over this stuff, right? And it's all just part of that predictive programming and stuff like that they're trying to push on us to yeah, and it's not going to help us. The fixed stars were so called because they were observed then, as we can observe today, to stay fixed in their constellation patterns night after night, year after year, century after century, never changing their relative positions. The wandering stars What are today referred to as planets were so called because they were observed then, as we can observe today, to wander the heavens, taking their own unique spirograph-like patterns, making both forward and retrograde motions over and around the Earth during their cycles. So like different patterns that you can see even with Venus, and other ones like look like the like sacred geometric patterns, tree of life, like mandala, like what do you want to call it, designs, and it's beautiful. And so like not only are these like pulsating luminaries above us, like when you zoom in, they're not what we're shown, but yeah, they influence in so many like different ways. And so like that's another book. And so like let me just go on to what am I saying here, The Secret of Light by Walter Russell. So I'm just page 22, like I'll just say I'll just read it. Sensation and consciousness. God is consciousness. Consciousness is static. Consciousness is the knowing of mind. Knowing is static. Consciousness is the spiritual awareness of being, of all knowing, all power, and all presence. Thinking is electric. And so like even with our thinking, like using our anyway, I'll just read this. I'm gonna let you do your own thinking. God's thinking is expressed by two-way moving wave extensions from consciousness, like a lever swinging upon a fixed fulcrum, or like waves extending from the calm sea. Thought expression is dynamic. Thinking belongs to the electrically sensed and conditioned vibrating universe of motion. Thinking is the motionless principle in light which creates the illusion of motion. The self of man belongs to the static, invisible, conscious, unconditioned universe of knowing. We express knowing in the dynamic, visible, electrically conditioned universe of sensation. Sensation is the electrical awareness of motion, simulating the spiritual qualities of the one idea by creating imaged quantities of separate forms which seem to have substance. Consciousness is real. Sensation stimulates reality through motion of interchanging lights, but the mirage of a city is not the city it reflects. Confusion and misunderstanding as to whether we are thinking consciously from knowledge or sensing electrically from memory records stored in our brains have led us to the necessity of distinguishing between the two by the common usage of terms as the human mind and mortal mind. We know full well, while using them, that there is but one mind of the one living God of love. The universal mind centers every particle and mass in the universe: animal, vegetable, or mineral, electron, atom, or sun. Man is the only unit in creation who has conscious awareness of the spirit within him and electrical awareness of duly conditioned light acting upon his senses. All other units of creation have electrical awareness only. Again, even with that, like I don't know, but this is from Walter Russell, and like he's so many great books out there that I need to like get into. There's so many other examples of great books that that just would get one thinking. Scientism Exposed. Hiding the True Creative Creation by Robbie Davidson. And again, I don't agree with 100% of everything anyone says, but he's really good with like how he did like debunks a lot of the like scientism and like the theory of evolution and stuff like that, and the geocentric versus heliocentric models, and how they were we were misled, and so many different like theories that are not provable have just continued to be perpetuated on us, and us lied to and misled, and so much, again, like with the videos and stuff like that are out, it's like there's so much fakeness, and even sports is fake, or not fake, but like staged and planned at the higher levels. So like I don't feel like there was any surprises when oh my goodness, I forget what his name is, but when the that soccer player, the one when he just won like the World Cup, he was unvaccinated, and he's been like very vocal about that as well in the last few years. And Bill Gates was like watching the game, and so like everyone's saying like it was like a whatever, like an FU or whatever you want to call it to Bill Gates, and like a slap in the face and all this stuff. Like who cares? They don't care. It's all part of the game, right? They want to make us look like certain groups are being appeased, right? And then other groups are being like frustrated, right? Because anyone that like loves Bill Gates and believes in like what he's been pushing, despite all the evidence like over the last few decades with Fauci and stuff like that as well, like they're going to get upset at this guy and like really double down on like vilifying like people that they know in their own personal lives, even that are not vaccinated and or trying to like resist mandates and stuff like that are harming and killing Canadians daily. But like again, even with of course the Epstein list too and stuff like that, but even like all these like high level celebrity trials and stuff like that that are going on, this was all again to play us. January 6th, like that was staged and planned. Like there was they were doing rehearsals for weeks before things even like led up to that event, and things just got a little bit out of control, because of people that were planted in, that were paid actors to like try to elicit emotional responses, and people even then, and I've shared the videos too about like even like government officials where they were trying to play themselves as like these like veterans too and stuff like that, and trying to paint them as like white supremacist groups. And then we found out that like every single person that was part of like that group of 5 people that were like being super racist, that they were actually like government like agents, and that they were just like they were pretending to be people that they were not, right? And so like again like and people were believing it, and there's so many lies about what's going on with the war too that people are believing. And I'm still going on LinkedIn and seeing people that are trying to call for like the death of millions of people, and to completely annex an entire freaking country, like innocent civilians, oh my god, like for over reasons that are part of the script, and that's going to make things so much worse for us. There's even people in other countries that are like even people in the US that are saying like, should we be intervening in Canada because like they're our biggest trading partners? Like, do we need to go there and save Canada from the dictator that they have in power? People are actually saying that in the US, like elected officials, like and so this is the level we're at. And so like I highly recommend people get off of get off of censored browsers and get a Proton Plus, or whatever you want to call it, VPN, Express package, whatever, it's worth the money, and connect out of different countries and get off Canada's mainstream media, like left or right. Like, don't think that just because you're not following like the leftist crazy media that you're actually getting like the good information. Because like even like journalists that are like more freelance or whatever like that work with Global and CTV, again, like they're so clueless and ignorant to the reality of what's going on, and they're just and they're also being used, right? Like they're part of the controlled opposition, whatever you want to call it, to make us think that our voices are being heard, and that there's some kind of like movement that will take place. And we're gonna criminalize so much stuff here that we're gonna criminalize anyone speaking out on the tyranny that's actually happening within Canada, and more so now it's going to escalate if we don't do anything about it. Oh my goodness. I think on that note, it's like happy hump day. I don't know. I want to end this on a positive note. It is positive. This year's going to be positive. A lot of information is already coming out, and there's no way they can prevent. Well, yeah, no, they're doing it. They're just pushing more and more censorship laws on us, and making it where it's not going to be illegal at all, or it's not anymore for them to be held accountable for lying to us. Like, let that sink in, right? Like our own prime minister, it's legal, and the president of the United States, it's legal for them to use propaganda and lie to us, and we are paying for this with our own tax dollars. And so I think on that note, what can you do about this? Call your local officials, call your district leader, call your mayors, ask them questions about this stuff. Take a look at a lot of the references that I share on my Rumble, and there's descriptions, like small descriptions on each one, and then take a look at your own resources, and ask questions, because this whole climate change narrative and stuff like that, also that's going to be coming down the pipe. Like, this is all like we're being lied to about this as well, right? And what we're calling climate change is like the top 10 corporations, or whatever you want to call it, within the world are causing like a significant portion of the pollution, and exploiting resources, and shredding trees, and mining, and all this stuff, and drilling, and they're blaming us, right, for all this stuff that they're doing, and then also like lying to us about like even like how to like properly harness energy. Like, this is all like crazy stuff. But I think, and then there's even freaking geoengineering, chemtrails, and like contrails, and weather modification, and I don't know if I already mentioned geoengineering, but like this is all stuff that's a reality. And if we don't wake up to this stuff and call it out now, then they're just going to keep doing it, right? And the more we are oppressed, you know what I mean, or dealing with like what they're throwing at us the more we're not going to be able to like access our executive functioning skills. We're going to be in fight or flight more, and it's going to be too little too late, right? So like even with cows, like when they have the ability to like leave the farm and or address things before they get like into that freaking like the slaughter line, then I don't know when's the right point. When is the right time to speak out or try to address things, right? Because I don't know. It's like even with UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, like these are all like again more predictive programming and planting seeds and stuff like that to make us believe that there's like aliens that come from like other planets and it's not true, and they're going to be using these things against us very soon, and again the conditions have been set now for decades, even like with previous presidents saying like that one thing that could unite us as a collective would be like an attack from like an alien race, you know what I mean, coming from another planet, and these are all things that they're doing to manipulate and exploit us, and they're making billions of dollars, right? Like they're saying like, oh, like you're telling me that they're taking $52 million a day and they're using it to make like fake CGI videos and images, and we're saying no, we're not saying that at all. We're saying when they're taking a very small part of that money every single day, little like and they're putting it towards these like really fake and stage like, and to people like me like very immature, like not it doesn't even look professional anymore. Never did. And then they're taking the rest of the money and they're traveling and they're eating great food and fine wines and like the best parties and traveling to the best places with the best means of transportation and the best security and like you name it, like not a care in the world, and laughing their way to the bank literally and thinking we deserve it because we're not addressing this stuff, right? Even with me with Carleton University, 4th year science degree, getting multiple, like having multiple degrees, I spent thousands of dollars, and I'm not going to be like Carleton University. They're teaching such pseudoscience, and I've given so many different references and tried to have conversations with heads of departments and professors because I'm paying money for this, but because it was online, because I'm not vaccinated, couldn't even enter the campus, and they knew that. So like ghosting people, very easy to do when they're not even allowed on the campus, even though we're spending thousands of dollars. Criminal. And I was sharing information to the COVID teams and to like so many different people too, saying that like what they were doing was actually causing more harm, and like they are an education system that should be that should be teaching, you know, like that should be the ones that are doing research and experimentations and addressing like all the incorrect science that we were being shown, and then not even all the incorrect science, because like, again, like people are trying to like say like that we were science deniers and like follow the science, but like no one was ever showing me any science. They were showing me stuff by Pfizer, like one or two like of the same research papers that like was always like the same two or same one, and they were the ones that were like the biggest conflict of interest and misleading and already debunked and refuted countless times from countless research like experts since. So there's no science. And yeah, so the people that were sharing like multiple like research papers from outside of Canada, mostly vilified and character assassinated, even by heads of educational institutions that should know better and be and should be taking this information from people like me, scientist to scientist, like expert to expert, or professional to professional, and doing more research and exploring this more and having like panels done and stuff like that, and then bringing this information to our government, our public health officials and stuff like that. So I was trying to do this stuff like simultaneously by myself, and so I've written countless emails and phone calls to Public Health Ontario, Ottawa, all the educational systems, all members of cabinet, and again, still like not any responses back. I've only had one person out of the thousands of people that I have messaged over like the last few years. I'm talking about like Glenn Gower, Jim Watson, literally at every level, was Pierre Poilievre. And so this is why like people are trying to like talk smack about him as well, but he's doing a lot more to address and call out like actual big concerning things within Canada. And that's a risk to his life too, by the way, because people do go missing on a regular basis for the stuff that needs to be addressed here. And so, and there's a lot of stuff that he's likely not saying out loud yet, because again, like there's you need to be put in a position of leadership first before you can impact change, right? And you don't want to mess that up beforehand. And so I think that this strategy, if he's working for us, is a good one. And so yes, he may have went to the same schools as Justin Trudeau and others, and operate in the same circles, but it is what it is, right? And so even for me, I have operated in the same circles and worked in the same circles too, but you could be completely drastically different than the people that you would just so happen to have to be in areas with, right? And so they're both politicians, they're both in and around the same age, and both in the Ottawa area. I don't know what people expect with that, and so. And yeah, there was support for WEF, but there's been some clear division with that as well. And then people that have since may have made remarks about the pandemic, at the offset, when it initially came, but have since changed their minds based on more information, right? So these are the people that may have said things that were pro vaccines and pro mandates and stuff like that in the beginning, but have since done a lot more of their own research and reconsidered this fluid changing environment, and have since, I'll reiterate this, changed their stance on things, right? And so these are the people that I would love to have more in government, because people that are open and willing and able to on a public level admit that they were wrong and or come from a different stance given better information, then that's all we can ask for, right? When we have people that are getting their husbands and their wives giving them millions of dollars of to be part of COVID teams, you know what I mean, to actually harass and vilify people. And this is where our taxpayers' money was going, and people like me not able to travel, not able to leave, character assassinated, vilified, no work, mind blown, right? Not able to see my family because they were from a different freaking province. And yeah, and so it's just been wild times, and I go weeks sometimes without even talking to people in person. and it's because I don't know, a lot of the stuff that I talk about is not mainstream enough, I guess. And it never will be. It is what it is. On that note, I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.